Welcome back, all of my wonderful fans of my YouTube channel that have followed my Gavriel K. Fianovar Tapestry reviews thus far. I'm Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon and The Blackest Heart, all published by Simon & Schuster Saga Plus. We're going to be reviewing book 3 of Gavriel K's Fianovar Tapestry, The Darkest Road. So let's just start out. If you saw my other reviews, I've got so many different versions of this trilogy up in my library. I've showed them to you before. I didn't want to bring them all back down. I did want to give a special call out to the wonderful covers of these old. This was the original trilogy I bought back in the early 1990s or something like that, maybe late 80s. When I was a kid. And I just think these are gorgeous. I love these paintings. And I will always give a shout out to the great artwork that we see on some of these books. And I think these are exceptionally well done. I just love the style. I love the look. It gives us that old-timey 1980s fantasy feel, but yet it's still elegant, still well put together, still holds up today as great illustration. The Darkest Road, the Fianovar Tapestry. I don't want to spoil anything, folks. Basic plot, if you didn't watch the other reviews, basic plot, we had Dave, Kim, Jennifer, Paul, and Kevin, all from Toronto, Canada, whisked off into a fantasy world, much like the Chronicles of Narnia. They just get whisked off of their college campus in Toronto into the Fianovar Tapestry, which is like an alternate universe fantasy thing where evil wizards and evil dark lords are going to destroy all of humanity and all of the multiverses, including Earth. And they've got to go on magical quests, much like Fellowship of the Ring or any of our standard fantasy books that got to go on. Kill the Dark Lord so everybody lives, right? That's it. A basic plot. And Gavriel K. got his writing, he was an experienced writer because he helped Christopher Tolkien put together the Silmarillion, which is J.R.R. Tolkien's, Silmarillion. So, and this Fianovar Tapestry, you can tell that Kay pulled a lot of what he learned from the Silmarillion and put it in the Fianovar Tapestry. And that's why I'm not going to talk too much about The Darkest Road and any of its plot points because it will spoil everything. If you haven't read books 1 and 2, it's going to spoil all that for you. So we'll make this just a quick review saying the overall series and trilogy is just magical. It is, and I kid you not, the closest thing to the Lord of the Rings that you're going to get other than the Lord of the Rings. Maybe Dennis McKiernan's Iron Tower trilogy is close. There's a few others that are kind of borderline, but this is like Lord of the Rings. It is that high fantasy. It is ultra high fantasy. It is like high fantasy, right? The whole series is. And the plot is just so intricate that I just almost can't mention anything about this book. Other than our main 5 characters are still alive and in it. And so is King Arthur and Sir Lancelot. And, all the other people they've kind of pulled from all the other multi-universe dimensions to come fight the Dark Lord in Fianovar to save all of the universes from being blown up and destroyed. That's it. That's really it. If you want, it's almost like the stakes of the Lord of the Rings, like Frodo and Sam throwing in the one ring into Mount Doom, saved Middle-earth. Imagine that had they done that, not only did it save Middle-earth, but it saved the entire time-space continuum. It saved every universe in the in the multiverse. It saved all trillion, quadrillion universes at once. That's kind of what we're dealing with. That's kind of what we're getting at here. And the characters are great. All the fantasy characters are great. The fantasy races are great. The world building is great. Just overall, the trilogy is solid. Solid, solid, solid. However, if you've read any of Guy Gavriel Kay's work that he did after, like this is the first stuff he ever did. Other than the Silmarillion, this was the very first stuff he did on his own. And if you've ever read any of his later works, you will know that his later works are far more sophisticated and well written than the Fianovar Tapestry. The Fianovar Tapestry is still better written than most everything else out there, but it's not up to par with Guy Gavriel Kay's later works. And that's why I don't give him 10 out of 10s, because his later works get that. This book probably gets an 8 out of 10. I would say overall, 8 out of 10s, 8.5 out of 10s for the whole trilogy combined. But y'all, I mean, if you're a fantasy fan, you got to read these. I mean, you got to read them. You got to check them out. You got to check out the next best thing to Tolkien, like the next closest thing to Tolkien that there is out there, and it's these. So go get them.